have you join us on Sports Update on Trust TV. Adini G. Shafe. Well, just saw there, Super Falcons. They are over there in Australia ahead of the World Cup, and they are really fighting themselves to see how they can do it against Canada, Australia, and Republic of Ireland. Well, at least have been talking tough, really trying to see how they can at least do well in this Mundial. They're really looking at getting to semi-final to at least better their lot after 1999 when Nigeria got to quarter-final. That has been our best outing at the Women's World Cup, but this time around, Super Falcons wants to better that lot, and we hope that they can do it. They play friendly against Queensland Lions FC, and they won that match 8-1. Those who find to themselves ahead of the Mundial. Well, right now, let's start to run through some stories. We'll be having 2026 FIFA World Cup. We will qualify ahead of Nigeria. Well, coach, that's Hugo Bruce of South Africa. The Bafana coach is talking tough. He says, well, he believes that they will defeat Nigeria. They will actually qualify ahead of Nigeria because we are in the same group, and it's a tough one because Nigeria will play alongside South Africa, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, not forgetting Benin Republic, also Lesotho, to fight for that particular top sport to qualify for 2026 World Cup. We'll be looking at that story. Well, really, it's a tough one because it's a dicey one right now. As we look at a lot of people looking at that, it's a banana peel for Super Eagles. We just have to be very careful not to underrate South Africa, Benin Republic, where they have our former coach, Coach Zamora, who is a coach of Benin Republic there, and will be facing South Africa, Bafana, not forgetting Lesotho, Zimbabwe, and Rwanda. But analysts have been focusing on on Benin Republic and South Africa for the fact that those two teams could actually spell doom for Nigeria. We just have to be very careful because they are like banana peels right now. But the coach of South Africa is talking tough that they will defeat, and they will do well, defeat Nigeria and also qualify first in that group. They will make it by getting the sole ticket of our group. Well, that could be a psychological way of getting to Nigeria, but really Super Eagles are ready to do this. They want to make sure they actually perform well. Oshoala in BBC Top 10 Stars to make impact at 2023 Women's World Cup. BBC lists our Nigerian star player Asisat Oshoala as among the top 10 players that will be making impact at the World Cup. Well, hopefully she'll be able to do this because recently Oshoala has really been doing well for our club, but really she needs to do well for Nigeria, even though we know that she plays with a different set of players both in the country and also at the club side. But right now she has been listed among the top 10 players to watch at the World Cup. Let's look at the list released by BBC there of those players to watch at the World Cup. We have Asisat Oshoala, Nigeria; Sam Kerr, who played for Australia; Alexia Putellas of Spain; Adja Hegerberg, Norway; Alex Morgan of United States of America; Kara Walsh of England; Alexandra Pope, Germany; Marta, Brazil; Wendy Renard of France; and you have Penari Hadar of Denmark. Those are the 10 players to watch at the World Cup according to BBC. But really, well, even though they are one of the best players when it comes to playing women football, you just have to be very careful not to underrate other players. A lot of stars will be spring up in this competition. But right now, we have these players to watch. What would they be doing for their different countries at the Mundial? Well, our own Asisat Oshoala, who scored a brace in their last game, in a friendly game, who has been listed among the top 10 players to watch out for at the 2023 Women's World Cup taking place in Australia and New Zealand, which also that she will be able to justify that particular listing by BBC and do us proud. Sister Oshoala has been a player to watch. Really, she has done well for herself, currently holding the African Player of the Year for women, and she has really done well for herself when it comes to playing football. The first African to win UEFA Champions League for women, and we have to celebrate her for this. Well, right now, Oshoala making that top list is a good one, but the entire squad must work together, according to one of them, Okpara Nozie, looking at the fact that that team, Super Falcons, need to do well at the world level. They've dominated enough when it comes to Africa. They need to make statement at the world level right now, and we're looking at that particular story there. Well, just to let you have a feel of what's happening concerning the Women's World Cup. The Women's World Cup will be starting on 28th of this month, and different countries are participating, really fighting themselves ahead of this Mundial. For women, they are fighting for equal pay. Some countries right now at the World Cup are fighting for equal pay. Some are fighting for other issues. But Super Falcons are trying to see how they can at least get ahead of Canada, Australia, and Ireland. Well, right now we'll move away from that story. Let's talk about Wimbledon. Wimbledon is a tournament that involves both men and women playing tennis. A particular player did well, defeating the former star, let me call him former world champion when it comes to Wimbledon. But right now he has been dethroned. We talk about Carlos Alcaraz. Alcaraz is a Spaniard, 20-year-old Alcaraz dumping out Novak Djokovic. A tough player to face, according to Djokovic, who actually has been talking concerning that particular loss to Carlos Alcaraz. Well, while we're looking at this topic together, we're being joined by Rhairom Zamora from Jos Plateau. Rhairom, good to have you on the show.
Good evening. It's good to have you too.
Okay, good one. Well, how is Jos this evening?
It's very well. Quite chilly. It has not rained particularly here for about 2 days now, but it's not very hot, so just is fine.
Okay, before you join us, we talk about FIFA, that's the World Cup, where South Africa are already talking that they will not allow Nigerians to qualify. They will qualify first. Well, talking about that story, we will qualify ahead of Nigeria. That's the South African coach. Don't you think this is psychological, trying to get into the mind of Eagles?
Well, certainly it is. It is very psychological for you to play mind games just before tough clashes. And when you're in a group with some of the best teams in Africa, you certainly talk tough so that your opponents will get scared of you and they would relate and say that this is a team that we're going to be coming against for the World Cup qualifiers. South Africa is not the same team that we've seen in the past 2 seasons. They are better now. They are more upgraded. So yes, Nigerians should be scared of the South African opponents in group for the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. And I will say this, aside any other country in that group, South Africa is our biggest challenge. And we just need one team, one country to qualify from that group. And it's either going to be South Africa or Nigeria or even Benin Republic, because you cannot underrate any opponent at this time, especially when you have a group of over 5 countries and you are just looking for one to qualify for the FIFA World Cup. And I'm sure that Nigeria will not take it for granted after missing out on the previous one.
A good one there. At least we know that Nigerian players, Super Eagles, just have to work hard if they are to qualify for the next World Cup. Coming from Rhairom there. Let's talk about Oshoala. Oshoala has been listed by BBC among the top 10 players who watch at the World Cup. This particular list involved the like of Samkara, not forgetting Malta of Brazil. All of them are there. But for Oshoala, who scored a brace recently, don't you think this particular list really showed that she deserved to be listed among those top 10 to watch for at the World Cup?
Any day, anytime. Asisat Oshoala is a big.
Okay, well, you just lost out that particular Zoom call with Rhairom there. Will still be joining us. Hopefully, when we get that network back, we'll be talking with Rhairom. He was okay. Let's have you, Rhairom, there. Let's have you.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I was saying that Asisat Oshoala is a big player any day, anytime, and you can't take that away from her. And any country that is lucky to have Asisat Oshoala should say that certainly they will expect an impact from her. But we've questioned her performance with the national team time and time again, that her performance with her club does not replicate it whenever she wears the green jerseys. So it's going to be a question of if Asisat Oshoala would be able to replicate that impact for the national team. Asisat Oshoala is a big player. You can't take that away from her, even though she missed out on the UEFA Champions League final due to injury. This season has not been very consistent for her. But even at that, Asisat Oshoala always registers goals upon goals, and nobody can take that away from her, that she's still in contention for the African Footballer of the Year again. But the question still remains, how much impact she'll be able to make for the national team. I mean, it's not going to be so easy. We've got a caliber of quality in the national team. They've been, bewildered with a little bit of problems with finances, with bonuses, payments, and, lots of issues about the coach coming out to, fight with the NFF with words. But he hopes that there's certainly hope that the quality of the team we have at the Super Eagles camp is going to help them to maybe get to another quarterfinal finish again. But the impact of Asisat Oshoala will certainly determine if she'll be able to take the Nigerians to that level. But any day, anytime, Asisat Oshoala is a top player. She's a player of quality, and she can do the best that she can to help them. But there's also players like Rashidat Ajibage that can help with the national team as well. There's the youngest goalkeeper at the tournament, that's Chinazo Nadosie. She's certainly going to help the team to reach to certain glory after helping our team in Paris FC get to a beautiful, fantastic finish in the season. But Asisat Oshoala is certainly going to be the big player to look out for at the Super Eagles camp for this year's FIFA 2023 Women's World.
I like the way you are smiling there, talking about the FIFA World Cup. It seems to really be supporting the Super Falcons to do well at the Mundial. Hopefully, they will make you smile by the time they play their group games. Now, the last one before you go, Rhairom, has to do with Wimbledon. Yes, Carlos Alcaraz really did well by dumping Novak Djokovic out. And right now, he says he has been the toughest player he has ever faced. Do you agree with that? I'm talking about Novak Djokovic. Djokovic that was defeated by Carlos Alcaraz at the Wimbledon over there in England. He said that, Alcaraz has been the toughest player he has ever faced. It seems not to understand his style of play.
Well, certainly, it's going to be a surprise to hear Djokovic say that, but we saw how that final was for him. He was a little bit frustrated. He couldn't take advantage of his chances. And there's something that Carlos Alcaraz has come out to show us, that he has the quality, at least each of every three of the top men in tennis. He has a little bit element from Rafa, from Roger, and even Djokovic himself. You can see it from his serves. And I actually think that the semi-final that Carlos Alcaraz played against Daniel Medvedev was actually even more tougher than the final with Novak Djokovic, even though he lost the first set. But he taught Daniel Medvedev lessons that Daniel Medvedev would be surprised to learn, especially on grass. That is his most uncomfortable turf. No one would have expected that he would try on grass, but Carlos Alcaraz came out to show that he's a player of quality any day, anytime, and he has done that against the world number one. He has done that against Novak Djokovic, who is always favorite anytime he's on the Wimbledon court, where he was hoping to, get to 24 Grand Slam titles, hoping to win back-to-back Wimbledon titles again. But unfortunately, Carlos Alcaraz showed that, hey, what you did to me on my favorite court on clay is the same thing I'm going to do to you on grass. And he came out and he showed him that competition. After losing the first set, he has also shown that he has the mental capacity to be a big player any day, anytime. And the question that we've been asking about, who would inherit, the qualities of either Rafa Nadal, Roger Federer, and Novak Djokovic, and maybe we just have our answers in Carlos Alcaraz.
Well, from what you are saying now, Alcaraz has become a 3-in-1 man, right?
Yes, certainly.
What about the likes of Alex Zverev? Where do you drop this? These guys are also very hot. Just that might not be their day. What do you think about that?
I actually think that they've not given us the consistency that we've been expecting from them. I can say that over the past two seasons in tennis, if I would pick any top three player that would, inherit the top three competition that Rafa, Roger, and Novak Djokovic have given us, I would say it's Daniel Medvedev, Stefanos Tsitsipas, and Alexander Zverev. But where are these players now? They are barely making it to semifinals, even though they've been consistent, making it to some semifinals. But we need to see them win Grand Slams. We need to see them get to finals and compete. And against even the likes of Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic is still playing like an athlete that is in his 20s. And you've got to ask, where are the likes of Daniel Medvedev, the likes of Alexander Zverev? And then you can see even the younger athletes than these ones are actually the ones coming up, the likes of Roger Hoon, the likes of Casper Ruud as well, and now Carlos Alcaraz. So, Alexander Zverev is a player of quality. Stefanos Tsitsipas is a player of quality. Daniel Medvedev is a player of quality. But they've not shown that consistency that they can be those players at the top that we can look for and say, hey, this is going to be the top athlete for the next 3 years. But I think that we can see that in Carlos Alcaraz.
A good one there. Maybe both of us will actually face ourselves in tennis, Rhairom. Okay, just want to appreciate you for joining us from Jos, Plateau State there. Thank you so much, Rhairom Zamora from Jos.
It's a pleasure.
Good one. Well, we've been talking with Rhairom Zamora, joining us from Jos Plateau, where we've been talking about tennis and also that has to do with football too, Super Falcons, and also talking about Super Eagles preparation ahead of the World Cup. The draw has been done, and we have South Africa, Benin Republic in our group. It's a big one there. Can we survive it? It's a question to be answered by Super Eagles of Nigeria by the time they file out in those qualifiers. And now let's run through some transfer stories before we wrap it up. We start with our homeboy, Ndidi Wilfred. Turkish side Fenerbahce to table offer for Wilfred Ndidi. Ndidi has been a player of Leicester City, and even though he dropped in form, but right now it's possible that Turkish giant Fenerbahce could be coming for him. A lot of Nigerians have actually applied their trade for Fenerbahce before, but right now it's possible that the player could be moving to Turkey over there to play in the Turkish Super League there. Right now, let's talk about another one. Inter Miami must be patient with Lionel Messi coming from the coach Tata Martino. Martino is already talking, warning the football fans of Inter Miami and also the management that should take it easy with Lionel Messi. They just have to be calm and be patient enough to let the Argentine forward showcase his talent. Has been in superlative form for Barcelona before moving to PSG, but now he has joined Inter Miami, and they just have to be patient with him for him to click with the style of football in the MLS, Major League Soccer, where he has since been actually put pen to paper to join them there. Well, Lionel Messi will be playing for Inter Miami, and he's about to actually commit to that club by starting with the debut for them. Hopefully, let's see what he'll be offering Inter Miami. Lionel Messi, world champion when it comes to football. He has done well for himself. And the last two says Inter Milan to bid at the 4.3 million for striker Folarin Balogun, value as 50 million by Arsenal. Arsenal placed 50 million on him, but Inter Milan are coming at the 4.3 because they are not ready to buy or sign Romelu Lukaku from Chelsea. So right now they are looking at Folarin Balogun. And the last one is Al Nassr to rival Aston Villa for Bayern Leverkusen striker Moussa Diaby. Moussa Diaby has been a fantastic player for Bayern Leverkusen, and right now almost all clubs are coming, but Aston Villa and Al Nassr will have to slug it out to get who will get the signature of this player. Striker Moussa Diaby could be moving to Saudi Arabia or to England to join Aston Villa. We wait to see where he will be pitching his tent at the end of the season. Well, a good one there to give you update in the world of transfer. Just have to let you have all those stories trending in the world of sport. We've earlier had Rhairom Zamora from Jos talking about tennis and also football story. Right now, we have to go now. I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe. Sport is always business and fitness. Thanks for watching.